All right, so taking you back now to our top story, of course, the shooting in Boulder, Colorado. Families are mourning the loss of loved ones this morning after a gunman opened fire at a Colorado grocery store yesterday afternoon. 10 people, including a police officer, were killed. Makenzie O'Keefe is from our Denver station and is on the ground in Boulder where the shooting took place. So glad you're able to join us now. Just give us the latest from the ground this morning.
Yeah, good morning. So the scene is still very active out here at this King Soopers in Boulder. They still have everything taped off. Police are just surrounding the area. We also have been noticing a lot of the vehicles, since the scene has not been cleared, still in the parking lot, those victims' vehicles, those witnesses. We are waiting for an update from Boulder Police this morning. We're expecting that in a few hours, but as of right now, we do know there was 10 victims. One of them, a Boulder police officer, Eric Talley, who had been on the force since 2010. He was actually the first officer on scene here. The chief is saying that his actions were just heroic, and we've learned that he has 7 kids and that his family was the most important thing to him. So we are certainly still waiting to hear more about those victims, as well as more about the suspect. Boulder police have not identified that suspect yet. We do know that he was injured and taken to a local hospital, so certainly waiting to hear more details on that as well.
So, of course, the investigation is going to continue. But when something like this happens, you know, the conversation starts to come up again about gun regulations and other laws that maybe could have been put in place to stop something like this from happening. We don't know the details, but how are state officials responding to the shooting? And do we know if there are any plans, perhaps, to discuss, you know, further gun regulations?
Yeah, that's right. So state officials have just been condemning the violence that we saw here. We've seen a lot of posts on social media condemning the violence, but also talking about just that, the gun laws and conversations surrounding that. We even heard from a witness whose family was inside and said that needs to be a topic of conversation. Something interesting to note was on Friday, actually, a judge blocked the city of Boulder from enforcing its 2-year ban on assault weapons and large capacity magazines within the city. So certainly with all of this that has happened and that also taking place, we know that this is going to be a big topic of conversation moving forward.
You know, I hate to say this, but when I heard about the shooting and I thought Colorado, 2 things came to mind: the beauty of the landscape and not another mass shooting in Colorado. And I know they happen all over the place, but some of the more high-profile ones, the ones that we all remember, happened in Colorado. The state has experienced a number of mass shootings in the last 25 years. Can you walk us through a little bit sort of the history of gun violence in that state?
Right. Unfortunately, Coloradans are no stranger to these mass shootings. We have seen a fair share of them here in Colorado. Some of the most notable ones: Columbine High School, 13 people were killed in that. We also had the Aurora Theater shooting. We had a handful of people killed in that, 70 people injured. Recently, we had a mass shooting. 3 people were killed at a Thornton Walmart. STEM school shooting just last year. 1 student was killed there. So unfortunately, Colorado has had its fair share of tragedy and heartbreak when it comes to these mass shootings. I will say one of the silver linings that I've been able to see through all of this is when tragedy does strike, Coloradans also are just so there for one another. So it is great to see that support, but you're right, we have had a lot of mass shootings that have just ended in such heartbreak and tragedy here.
Well, Makenzie, it's not just you know, the people of Colorado. The entire country is with your state. I just want to remind people that we have local coverage. You can head to cbsnews.com/live. You can see our local CBSN streams, and you will see the reporting by people like Makenzie O'Keefe. She's on the ground. She understands the community, and you can get some really valuable insight. Makenzie, thank you so much.